So are you out or are you in? Dance, dance, dance to the dance, dance, dance in the kitchen.
Hey guys, I'm Ashley,
And I'm Octavia.
and we are back here on
Dancing in the Kitchen.
And we are talking about a theme of starting solids, and specifically in this segment, we're just going to kind of deep dive into our own experiences, how we started our kids on solids, and kind of learn from each other. So I am curious to hear, I know for you starting with vegetables was important and that you feel like that's really promoted your daughter eating a variety of foods and not being very picky.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd just love to hear more about your story and how you approached it.
Well, I was really lucky. I was going to a place, you probably went there, it was over in
Hollywood?
Hollywood. What was it called?
It was called the Pump Station.
The Pump Station.
I did go there.
The Pump Station was awesome. It was a very curated store for new mothers, you know, for like basically 0 to 1 year. And I went to some Mommy Me classes there. They also had just different speakers come in and teach you different stuff. And there was a lactation consultant who also was very invested in baby nutrition. And she said something that sparked my attention, that she started her daughter on eating savory foods. And now her daughter doesn't really like sweets. And her daughter is an adult now, and I was like, okay, my ears perked up, and I'm like, she's on to something. What is this chick doing? So she had taught me to first start with green vegetables, so pureed green vegetables. And I know you like to use like breast milk or regular milk in there, but she had said breast milk is kind of sweet, and that adds to the sweetness, so just really no sweetness at all. So I started with the green pureed vegetables, then I went to yellow vegetables, and then pureed white potatoes, and I didn't even go to sweet potatoes until much later. And you know, most people, they start their babies on fruit, like mashed fruit, because they think the baby's going to reject the food. But what we do know is that this is a brand new little palate, and it's like anything you give them, they're gonna love it. And they're also just super interested in what we're eating. So they're just like, hey, you're eating that? I wanna try it. So
Yeah, and there's like a window at this stage where they're very, very open to trying all kinds of different foods and flavors.
Exactly.
Whereas, you know, you get a couple for years further in and that window gets a little narrower.
But if you're starting them out on the sugary things, so fruit, even cereals and breads and stuff like that, you're basically getting their palate ready just to be a carb eater, you know? And that's what I see a lot of kids now. They're just like, they're eating macaroni and cheese, they're eating pizza, they want bread, and they're not eating their veggies.
Yeah. And to be fair, my kids now do eat some of those things, but they also eat their veggies.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's a very balanced diet. And I have to say, people are like, they're like impressed. They're like, whoa, she's eating what? Like, my daughter loves quinoa. I mean, she eats calamari. We were at this restaurant one time, and Barbricks, which is in our neighborhood, and she picked up the little squid with all the tentacles and just popped it in her mouth. And this Italian guy at the next table was like, whoa, that little girl just ate the little squid. I'm like, she ate the whole thing.
That's awesome.
So people are really impressed with that. And I know your kids are the same way. So tell me a little bit about how you got your boys started.
Well, similar, I actually did start with like savory foods, egg yolk, you know, mashed up salmon, even like ground beef, especially with breastfed babies, that iron content is a big deal. So if you're going to give them any kind of ground or pureed meat, you want to do red meat or like dark meat chicken because it's got more of that heme iron in it. So I did include those foods at the beginning, and then pretty much similar to you, like green vegetables. And I didn't include or introduce bread. I think my son was probably 2 before he ever really started eating bread. So yeah, I mainly just stuck with like fruits, vegetables to start, fruits eventually, and then like healthy fats and protein, beans, things like that. And, you know, also with like the bland foods, like the bread, like the pasta and the sugary foods, we want to expose our kids to a lot of flavors, like the spices and the variety, because then they're going to be more accommodating and accepting of those flavors later on. So I would incorporate spices too. So, you know, maybe like some cinnamon or some turmeric or some of those things too, to kind of just really give their palate that versatility.
The palate. I can't remember when I actually introduced bread for the first time, but I know for sure for fruit, it wasn't until 6 months for berries and then 9 months for banana. That I remember, but I can't even remember when we first gave her bread. But I remember her first things that she really loved were quinoa and actually grilled or sauteed onions. She would eat them like by the bowlful. And now she won't eat them. I don't know why, but she used to love them.
She maxed out.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't even get them off the stove. She's like, give me that in the bowl. I'm like, oh my goodness. I was trying to make, prep food for the week, and she's just eating it right out of the pan, basically.
That's hilarious. Yeah, and then, once my kids were a little older, like I started with egg yolk with a little bit of breast milk mixed in, but then like scrambled eggs are a really easy, great food for kids, especially if you cook them kind of soft.
Yeah.
You want to obviously be careful they're not raw, but you cook them a little bit soft and it's just an easy texture for them to get used to. So another thing that I never gave my kids was juice, like ever, except for green vegetable juice. And I mean, literally that's all it is. It's like lime juice and then parsley, celery, kale, spinach, like a green juice that I like to drink. That was the only juice they ever got. And so
That's pretty hardcore, my friend.
I get kind of secretly delighted because I'll like have my green juice and the kids will be like, oh, I want some. I'm like, here's your juice. This is juice. But on that note, it's really important to know that you should never, ever put juice in a baby's bottle. It's just like mainlining sugar, and it's really bad for their teeth. And on that note, never leave a bottle in the crib with the baby either, even if it has like formula or milk in it, because that also is really bad for their teeth. They can get something, do you remember what it's called? Is it bottle rot?
I don't remember.
It doesn't sound good, and it's not good. Their teeth decay from the sugar in the milk.
Yeah.
So you never want to leave a baby sleeping with a bottle.
I just never did because I was so worried about them drowning or choking or who knows what.
Also a very valid reason not to do that.
Right.
And bottles should be phased out by the time they're about a year old because their teeth and jaw development is affected as well.
Yeah. We were a little late on that pacifier weaning. I had a daughter.
I remember that.
Yeah, we had a whole conversation about it. The pacifier fairy had to come, but even the dentist was like, so what is it, the bottle? What is it, the binky? What she still got? Because I can tell. I was like, oh no. So yeah, we had to phase it out with the pacifier fairy.
But it worked.
It did work, yeah. And the funny thing is, there was one pacifier. We gathered them all up. She would go to bed with like 5 pacifiers, like 5, a few in each hand, and like go to sleep like this. It was like really like her comfort zone, And so we gathered them all up and we like put them in the bag, and there was like 10 of them in there. I don't know how many. We had a ton. And there was one the next day after the pacifier fairy came that she found. She's like, oh, Mom. It was like under the chair. She's like, Mom, there's a pacifier. She's like, do you think if we put it in the bag, the pacifier fairy will bring me another toy? I was like, oh my God, this kid. So anyway, she got a double presents from the pacifier fairy.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that it worked.